Hello. Good morning. Welcome to the Triforce podcast.
Hello.
I want to start this off with a bombshell.
Oh my god. I'm not ready.
I sit before you this morning, a man with a shaved scrotum.
No way. Oh
Yes.
yeah, of course, yeah, in preparation for your big day.
Yes. Manana. It's manana.
Oh my god.
It is. I have never ever shaved my scrotum before.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's phenomenal.
Is it?
I cannot stop playing with this thing. It's like having
my god,
a
please.
fidget toy in my pants all the time. It's
Oh my
amazing.
god.
What did you go in like really close, or is there like
Oh, I went wet shave, baby. I went wet shave.
Oh my
Like it felt like an old man's face because it was still quite rugged because it's a scrotum, but it was like a very slight hint of bristle. So let me tell you, it is amazing. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get into the habit of it, but I'm just saying, I really didn't think it was going to be my cup of tea. I'm loving it. I am loving it, and I'm loving life.
Holy crap.
You're preaching to the converted, dude. There's tons of men out there who are busy.
Scrotum
I
shavers.
just haven't got the time
Busy
to
shaving.
be doing this all the time. It's just ridiculous.
What
Yeah,
do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to spend... First of all, it took me like 20 minutes because I was being extra careful. I don't know if I want to spend 20 minutes a day shaving my privates.
What do you
seems
mean?
a bit
You're not
excessive.
like Homer Simpson getting a 5 o'clock shadow by, like 4:30 in the afternoon. It's not
But, I mean, yeah, but how long does it last?
it's
like a
it
couple of
depends.
days. You're gonna have to reshave. It's gonna grow back, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's like
but I'm worried about the ingrowing hairs and stuff like that.
Ugh.
Yeah, it might get a bit itchy, but you get used to it.
Did you
Well, either way,
did you
it's
just
great.
shave your balls, or did you just shave everything? Like did
No,
you go,
I trimmed everywhere.
Right.
Which I do that anyway. Like I do
Yeah,
that anyway.
alright,
I
good.
trim it down.
Well,
But like I
that's-
don't just sit there with like
we-
caveman bush.
We
you know?
sort of
Oh, man, I do.
expected this
I
because
just
you were
let it-
very
I just let it flow.
apprehensive. You were very apprehensive about it last week, and
No, I was not apprehensive about the procedure. Just to point out, I was apprehensive about this one aspect of it,
right.
which is I didn't want to cut my nuts with a razor.
You can
So,
just have a whip round in the shower. It's fine,
No, it's
not-
got to be just right. And remember, they sent me a photograph of what they're after. And
They're-
I'll tell you what,
They want
the-
it not a single.
they want it shorn, fully shorn. Yeah.
Right.
Because it
They're
makes
gonna-
the procedure easier.
They're gonna like test you.
what happens if you turn up on the day and you just haven't done it? Like
I assume they might do it then and there.
you can yeah, they probably do, right? Because I was thinking like before I had to give myself an enema before I had that probe in my ass, and I was toying with the idea of just not doing it. Like
Wow.
Yeah.
I was
We
just
really
going to
did
turn
go-
up and say, "Oh
We
yeah."
really did go
And
deep
did you do
here,
your
didn't we?
enema? Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
Oh,
no
I
problem.
see.
And then, when it comes to it, they're like, geez, there's a lot of shit in here. Are you sure you did your enema? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Oh
I mean,
my
I
God.
Yeah,
totally
just got a
did it.
shitty ass.
I
Just
just got
have
really
a shitty ass.
excessively shitty ass. Sorry, yeah.
Gosh. Well, I don't know what I expected when I was walking in to do this podcast this morning. I guess just this.
Yeah.
I guess is this what happens
What can
though
you
when
do?
you get older? You start talking more and more about medical stuff that's going on.
Yes,
This is voluntary. This is a voluntary.
It's a way of
medical thing.
coping. You're no longer like the you're no longer like the lean, trim, sex Ferrari that you were when you were
That you never were. That's
a young buck. But you look back, on those days and imagine that you were, right?
And imagine that you were,
The beauty
or
of
imagine that you'd
hindsight.
missed it somehow.
Yeah.
God.
And so that's why you spend most of your older years commenting on it, because you're just trying to cope with the changes, like you're just trying to kind of bamboozle yourself a little bit, make yourself feel better about everything. But
Yeah.
deep down,
You know.
I've just finished watching season 2 of The White Lotus, which
yeah.
is
Okay.
a great show. Really, really good.
Right.
And that's kind of a running theme of those is like
Getting
rich
old.
people or like older people being attracted to young people and kind of like try to either take advantage of them or being taken advantage of in many cases, actually. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's quite...
Well,
it's
the
quite-
older people being taken advantage of, I guess,
Or
it
at
works
least...
both
Or at
ways,
least
yeah.
people thinking people being kind of obsessed with sex in a sense and feeling like they should be or shouldn't be doing it or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's kind of, and that'll solve their problems in a way, right? It's like, oh God, if I was having sex with a hot young guy, maybe it would be solving all my problems kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it's, It's just so well done. I really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Really recommend.
Is there only 2 seasons of it?
Yeah, but it's and the second season's got an entirely different cast as well. It's set in a different place.
Oh,
Yeah, the first season is set in like Maui, like the Hawaiian
right.
island, and then the second one is in Sicily.
Oh,
but it's like
okay.
the same resort. It's like the White Lotus Resort Hotel,
Oh,
like a
okay,
super,
but it's
super
just-
luxe hotel.
Right. But so it's about a place more so than about like a cast of people. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm really tiptoeing around spoilers very carefully because
All right, okay.
I think it's not worth giving you too much info.
Sure.
I think it's just great though.
That's neat. Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I think Jennifer Coolidge won an award for it. Who you might know as
She did.
she
was great.
Stifler's mum.
Stifler's mom's got it going. I think she's had a really late sort of blossoming to her career, and I think it's really interesting to see people because she's been in so many things, like American Pie. She was in.
Oh yeah, I
what's the
I
film
couldn't place
with?
her, but now I know. who
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Legally Blonde. As
Legally
well.
Blonde. She was the Bend and Snap. She was the hairdresser who had to learn how to do the bend and snap and all that kind of stuff. And she always played these kind of quiet bit part roles, I think, and sort of people's moms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now she's got this incredible. In the first series of White Lotus, she is. I haven't seen the second series, so she's in the second series as well, is she?
Yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, so she's phenomenal. She's really, 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 really good. And it's just great to see these actors who've been around for ages just plugging away and doing their thing.
Yeah.
Getting some love.
Yeah, the Oscars coming up as well, which is always. I mean, after last year, fuck. I mean,
I wonder who's gonna get punched in the face this year, or maybe even they'll have to up their game, right? They might have to up their game.
Yeah.
Which obviously has not. Or has it damaged Will Smith's career? I assume it has.
Oh, it has.
Yeah,
he got dropped from a lot of things.
I think it has. Yeah, I don't think.
I won't watch anything
Fair
with him
enough.
in now because I found it so unpleasant and weird that I can't look past it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what your take on it is, listener. To me, it was just like this is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like this is so fucking weird. I'm out. I'm out. I never really liked Will Smith anyway. I liked Fresh Prince when I was a kid.
I would have
But
thought
other than that, he's made a lot of turds. He's made a lot of turds.
Yeah, but the craziest thing about it, and I know this is old news and not even really worth talking about or whatever, but the thing that always surprises me about it is that he's a guy who's been, in the limelight for so long. Like you would have thought that he would have had a bit of a thicker skin by now. I'd understand if he was at the start of his career and and it was just like he wasn't accustomed to having to deal with criticism or, people poking fun at him or whatever. But like at this point, I mean, surely he should have had some coping skills. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, apparently not.
It's-
He's a giant baby with a massive ego.
it's just
so I guess
wild.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that even the most successful and rich folks can still be just massive, man children.
It's true. You know what? I actually had a very interesting last Friday, and I thought you guys might want to hear about it. We're talking about actors, so it hones in on that quite neatly. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure.
Please.
So I went out into London to meet up with some friends of mine. If you're a Dota fan, Blitz. He's like the coach of
yes.
Team Liquid, and
Isn't he the guy who played a lot of Storm Spirit?
Storm Spirit, that's his thing, yeah. So me and Will have known each other for like 10 years now. He's probably one of my absolute best mates on the Dota scene. Love the guy. Every time he comes over to London, we hang out. And he comes over quite often because his girlfriend is Welsh. So he comes over to the UK, they come up to London, we go out for a meal, we go out for some drinks and stuff like that. So he's good friends with, do you guys know the actor Asa Butterfield?
No.
Look him up, you'll recognize him. He's been in tons of stuff.
Asa Butterfield.
Asa Butterfield. British actor, lives in London, big Dota fan. He's like associated with Team Liquid, is like a sort of face of Team Liquid, sort of promoting it, stuff like that.
Oh my god, he's a very young looking boy.
Very young looking guy. So I did when we went out for dinner and it was me and Will and Asa and
he was
like,
in Ender's Game, that's where I recognise him from.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
He was
exactly.
Ender from the movie Ender's Game.
Yeah. So if you look at Asa Butterfield, you will have seen a film that he's in. He's been in a whole bunch of things. So, and they were like, so it was Asa and like 4 of his mates. And then there were 2 other actors turned up. One of them is a guy called Alex Wolff, who was the boy in Hereditary. If you've seen the film Hereditary, he was the guy in that. He's also been in a bunch of things. And the other one was Joseph Quinn, who I hadn't heard of, because I haven't seen the 5th series of Stranger Things. He is Eddie Munson in Stranger Things.
Okay.
And is apparently fucking hugely famous now. And I've not heard of him because I haven't seen the series of Stranger Things.
Okay, sure.
But he was really, really, really nice. Him and Alex were really, really, really nice. And I was like, wow, I'm actually out for a meal with like famous people. It felt very exciting.
Right.
I felt, but I contained myself. However, I told my youngest I was going out. She said, who are you going out with? And I said, this guy called Joseph Quinn. She almost fell over because she is a huge Stranger Things fan. She literally loves Eddie Munson. She loves Joseph Quinn. She literally almost went white and fell over. No exaggeration. And I was like,
That's
do you want me to get a
typical teen girl reaction?
Yeah, exactly. So I said, do you want me to get a picture with him? She was like, please, Daddy, please get that picture. And I went out to meet them, and she kept messaging me all the way up until she went to bed, like every 10 minutes. Are your friends there yet? Did you see your friends yet? How's it going, Daddy? Just checking you're all good. Are your friends there yet? And I just said, look, they're not here yet, love, but I promise I'll get you that picture. And me and Will had a chat about it before, and I did get the picture. To spoil the story, I did get the picture. I said to Joseph, after we've been chatting for a while, would it be okay? It's for my daughter. He said, absolutely, yes, no problem. He's quite a posh-sounding English lad. Really, really sweet guy. And he was like, absolutely. So we got the picture. And then we were just chatting. We were chatting about how great Southwest London is because he's like from Clapham and everything. Just the nicest dude. But the embarrassing bit was, we all sit down for the meal, and Asa's face is currently plastered on buses all over London because he's in some show.
Right.
And the waiter recognizes Asa, quite a young waiter, panics and spills Asa's drink all over Asa. Like literally dumps it all down his back.
Oh,
and it was like,
whoa.
it was so bad. And it was a very expensive restaurant. And the guy, the manager and the manageress were over in like a heartbeat. We're so sorry, they're comping stuff and all this, the rest of it. And the waiter was just trembling. And he said, I'm so sorry, I just recognized you and I'm really nervous. And Asa was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. But it was literally like the worst place you could spill a drink would be the front of someone because it ruins their whole evening basically. But the second worst would be all the way down their back, like from his neck all the way down, was just soaked with a cocktail. So yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. But it was a very cool evening, and it was great chatting to them, and they were just so lovely.
Why didn't you start with that story instead of the flipping shaved scrotal that you've been fondling? I can't get that out of my head now that you're just fondling a scrotum while you're telling me this story.
It's not in any chronological. He's just doing a big brain dump. He's got a lot to say.
He's got
But
can't you say what restaurant you went to and stuff? Or are you trying to keep it secret now for some reason?
No, it's not like their favorite place. I mean, I don't want to burn the restaurant and people think it's a bad restaurant.
Was it Ramsey's fish and chip?
No, it wasn't. It was a nice
Nando's?
restaurant. It was nice. The food was really good. It was like it was good. It was good. But
what kind of food was it?
Yeah, you're not going to detective this.
No, I don't want to. I'm just asking.
What's big right now? Dumplings. Everybody's talking about dumplings.
It wasn't dumplings.
Was it Korean barbecue?
No, it was not KBBQ.
All right. So just the four of you lads were out on a...
No. There was like 10 of us.
Right. Who else was there?
Well, so it was Asa, Joe, Alex, Blitz, and me, and then it was...
That's the celebrities, and then all the cut hangers on.
And then it was 4 of Asa's friends.
Right.
And these are the guys that he plays Dota with, like, every day. So he's a massive Dota fiend.
What rank is he, though?
He's low ancient.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's actually really good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the guys that were there also work in like various sort of TV or special effects and stuff like that. So one of them does VFX, and he had been working on Stranger Things and had never met Joe, but had been like touching up his face or adding effects to things for like 6 months prior to meeting him. So he's like, it's so weird seeing him because I've been staring at his face for 6 months on a monitor, like doing VFX on it, and now there he is. So that was funny.
Nice.
And his girlfriend does costumes for London Theatre, and Mrs. F and the youngest F had been to the theatre to see the show that she was working on. It was The Witness for the Prosecution, which is quite an old play, but they redone it where the audience actually sits in a courthouse.
Oh, cool.
Sort of an old courthouse. Yeah. So you're sort of in the courtroom, as it were, in the trial. Which was really cool. So I told her that my wife and my youngest absolutely loved that. She was very pleased. It was great. It was just a really fun evening, and it was a good bunch of people. I didn't feel like, I've met famous people before, and you kind of feel like you're on the tenter hooks, and you don't want to piss them off, and they kind of want to go, and they want to go hang out with someone else and everything. But they were just, they were just super, super chill. It was really, really nice. But Will told me the story about, is it Maisie Williams who was in Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
sure.
She played Arya Stark, right?
She was Arya Stark. So when that show was at its peak, for whatever reason, they met her. They went out for an evening with her. I think probably through Asa or something like that. And she was staying at a hotel, and they went to pick her up, and they were going to eat in the restaurant that's in the hotel. In order to get there, they had to walk from the elevators to the restaurant through the lobby, and she got stopped 15 times on the way from the elevator to the restaurant.
Holy crap.
By people in the lobby, by fans and stuff like that.
Sure.
Not people who were like looking for her, but her face was like one of the faces of Game of Thrones.
It was, yeah. It was
and exactly
recognizable.
So everyone that stopped her was like gushing, "Oh my God, you changed my life, and your character, this, that, and the other," and going overboard and all the rest of it. And by the time she got from the elevator to the restaurant, she'd had enough. She's like, "I'm just going to go back to my room." So the cost of being that fucking mega famous, we were discussing it. How hard? I mean, I get it. Nobody's got sympathy for these kids because they're rich and all the rest of it. And just like, you know what you're getting into and all the rest of it. But what a change of pace. Yeah. I mean, you've gone from being able to do this industry, work in TV, work in theatre and all that, and then you get one big role, and all of a sudden you can't leave the house. And you'll have people following you around, trying to figure out where you live. You'll have people coming up to you all the time. And for them, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And for you, you're just trying to get to the newsagent. So it must suck. It must absolutely suck.
It's the same thing with Joffrey, right? He got like so much hate for it and stuff.
Oh my God,
so much recognition. Kind of. I don't know what exactly.
You have to
happened,
change your look completely, though. Like you have to play Joffrey clean shaven, and then in your private life, you just have to have a massive beard and wear a hat and sunglasses all the time and stuff.
Yeah, you go fully undercover.
Yeah.
That's
Can I just say, for anyone thinking that I'm bigging myself up in any way by telling this story,
you want the big up this week?
No, I'm not going to take it. I'll tell you how the evening ended.
Oh, okay.
And you will realize that I was wildly out of my depth.
You are allowed to be you are a big celebrity in the Dota world. To me, like a lot of the things. This is I'm sure I've talked about this before, but people have their own celebrities based that aren't necessarily that big. You're a big Dota guy. You're a Dota celebrity, Flax. To Mr. Butterfield, I'm sure that you are. Up there, someone who'd want to meet and want to talk to, on the list.
So he came. I did a pub stomp for TI3. We did a pub stomp in a pub in North London. TI3.
So like 7 or 8 years ago.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Is this going to be one of those stories where at the time you were big time and he wasn't, and you snubbed him, and now he's like big time and he's
not at all.
He's mentioning back to you. Did he call you a bozo as well at the same time?
You're never going to forget that, are you? One bad email is defining your Triforce experience.
That's the thing. I'm not used to getting them, so when I get one,
trying to go to sleep. They call me a bozo. I'm sorry, I won't read any more negative. I'll filter them, and if there's anything negative about Sips in there,
I'm fragile. I'm a fragile man.
I'll run it by his people first.
Yeah, God,
if they okay it, then
please,
you can fire them. So I did this pub stomp. This was the Good Studio asked me to do coverage of these games live from a pub in London to sort of show off the international nature of TI, where people were having these pub stomps all over the place. For anyone that doesn't know, a pub stomp is literally everybody turns up in a pub and you put Dota on a big screen or whatever game it is, StarCraft 2, whatever. So I went there to run that with Cyborg Matt, who people might know he's the manager of Team Secret. He used to be like just a community guy like me, did videos and stuff like that. And Asa and his mate turned up. They were 15 at the time, and they got in. And they were watching the Dota, and they said hi, and I said hi to them, and we were watching the game and stuff like that. So we've known each other for at a sort of arm's length, I'd say, for a decent amount of time, because I don't play a lot of Dota other than with the lads I normally play Dota with. Will does invite me to stack sometimes, but it's always at like 4:30. I'm like, I don't want to get into a game at 4:30, or it's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I want to go to bed. I don't want to play Dota. So we actually haven't played Dota together, even though I've known him for a while. But the weird thing is that he's been a Dota fan for that long. Like he is legit a Dota fan. I've seen him at pretty much every TI. He goes there, and he went to the Stockholm Major, and he goes to lots of majors. Him and his mates go over there and go to these games. So it was quite funny. But one of his mates that was there that night leaned over to me in the meal, and you know what he said. 1v1
me mid noob.
No, something that would associate all of us.
I have
he
a
has
tiny
a
penis.
tiny penis.
I have
Oh
a tiny
my
penis,
God.
Oh my
yes.
God,
And I was
yeah.
like, okay, dude. I knew that was coming at some
Which
point
one
this
said
evening.
this?
I'm not gonna say. Just not one of the actors.
Right, it was one of
It
the.
was one of Ace's mates.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Who I now consider one of my mates. But yeah, he was a good lad. But yeah, I'm not gonna out him. But he's listening. He knows.
Is he gonna get does he get the big up then, or what? Who's good?
No one gets a big up.
All
that
right,
evening.
okay.
Actually, I'm going to give Joe Quinn the big up because we were trying to find somewhere to get a drink. Places were closing. We didn't get the meal till quite late, and then it was like 11 something, and we were
Right.
like, shit, where are we going to go next? So he knew a place. It was like a knock bar in Soho where you knock and you have to show your face and do the right nod and know the guy. And it's like a underground members club in Soho.
There's
We went
always
in there.
someone who knows.
Yeah.
He knew
these
it.
Like a
things,
lockdown
some
or
trendy guy
something,
amongst
yeah.
your team.
Exactly.
who-
And we went
who
into
knows.
this really cool underground jazz bar with all these really funky Soho types in there. And I was like, this is so cool. And that was awesome. So I'm going to give Joe the big up. I'm going to give a big up, a big down to a club called The Box,
Right.
which I'd never heard of. A lot of people in London have apparently heard of it. It's like a sex club in the middle of Soho where they have a
Nice.
live stage show where they do all kinds of revolting things on stage. That was the only place we could think of to go to because the guys were quite keen
You want to
on
go
going
somewhere
it.
that's like open and it's getting close to 3 a.m. or
Right.
something.
So we try to get in, and the celebrities pull their "Do you know who I am?" thing, but in a subtle way. And the maitre d' comes out, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, you guys can come in." As we're filtering in, the famous lads are at the front, and then it starts to get a little closer and closer, and I realize, they're gonna not let me in. I was just wearing like a shirt, corduroy trousers, trainers, and I had my big hairy parka on.
Sure.
And she was like, I think we're going to stop it there for now and stop me from coming in.
Oh no!
So I was like, all right, guys, it's pretty late anyway. I'll see you later. And they were like, and they were like, bye. And I gave everyone a hug and everything. And off I went. So I was the least cool person. I didn't get into the box. But
Well,
apparently,
you could have wore something a little bit, a bit, more.
everyone was dressed casually.
Yeah,
Everyone was dressed
less
casually.
casual. I'd say.
but
that
I
has
looked like-
happened to me.
Casual dad is what I looked like.
Back when I
Honestly,
used to-
they're kind of like blessings in disguise when that happens,
Oh.
though, right? Because I know there's been times where I've had something like that happen to me, but it's turned out to be like the best thing, Like you hear like a horror story of what happened after, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm
Right.
glad I
Right.
wasn't there." Or you go home and you just have like a really good time playing
Sleep.
Dota or something, and you're like,
That's
"Oh,
3
fuck,
a.m.,
that's
yeah.
great. I'm glad I
Well-
went home to play Dota instead, or whatever."
Right, making the best of it. No, I
Yeah.
mean this happened exclusively. When I was in my sex Ferrari years, as Sips puts it.
Yeah.
When I should have been the cool guy at the front, I was I was that guy, P Flax. So I'm
I've
still.
always
guy.
been that guy. I've
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
been that guy. If there's
Yeah.
a cool thing that you can get into if you're cool, the cool people take one look at me and they're like, "This guy is definitely not."
Oh
cool."
man,
This
I
is
think
the-
the
this
thing
is
is though,
hell.
I don't know, no,
Who let
maybe
this
not
guy
you
into
guys
the
so
knock
much
bar?
because I think you guys are a bit cooler, but I look like
Thank you,
somebody
Sips.
who has 3 kids. And people sense it from a mile away. They're like, this guy is not, we're not letting this guy into anything. This guy's not allowed to have fun. This guy needs to know his
Right.
place. Go home to your kids, you old bastard. Get out of here. We don't want you in our sex club. We want young, spunky people
Right.
in this club, not you.
I mean,
but-
everyone else that was queuing up because there were huge queues to get in.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of them looked very cool,
Yeah.
and I really didn't look.
No.
I looked like I
looked like a Magic
honestly.
the Gathering nerd who was building up for a school shooting. Do you know what I mean? That was my vibe throughout my teens and 20s.
I think that evening I looked like I probably in their eyes at first glance looked like a pervert.
Right.
It's the parka.
It's
The parka doesn't help.
It was
you know? The
you
parka
were
really
going
doesn't
into
help.
a sex club, though. I mean,
I know. but
I think
you know,
you're. Most people can. That's the one place you can get away with looking like a pervert.
You'd think.
You'd think.
I tell you what, that's bad manners by Asa, because what he should have done was go in last, right?
Yeah.
No.
If you've managed
He
to
should have
waggle your
called the whole
mates
thing
in.
off. He should have said, "Okay, everybody, that's it. We are not going to what's this place called? The Box. This place sucks. Let's get out of here," and then gone somewhere else. Right?
But
should have done
every
that.
single time. Okay, here's the thing. I do go to these parties at TwitchCon and things like this, right? And every time, if I'm on the list and my friends aren't on the list, I send them in, right? I'm like, oh, I send them in, and I either wait around or go last because I know that I'm on the list. So it's only a matter of time before I can like convince someone to actually get me in as well, right? I'm not going to let other people take the fall for me. I don't know.
I was happy for them to go in. We'd already tried to get in somewhere and been denied, and everybody wanted to crack on. And I was like, we tried to get into Ronnie Scott's, which is like a jazz club in Soho.
So do you not reckon it was his celebrity credentials that actually got him in this place? It was just
100%. No, 100%.
Young and looked nice. Right.
No, it was 100%.
But it didn't stretch to his it didn't stretch to his dad.
It was too big. No, it was too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can come in, but not your uncle. Like that was it. That's fair enough. And honestly, at that point in the evening, he's got friends over. He wants to go out, and I mean, the guys, Joe and Alex, were over filming something. That's why they're in the UK. They're filming something. So they want to relax. It's Friday evening. They want to go out to a club. I was like, absolutely get it. Go for it. Because we've already struggled to get into this other place and didn't get in. So go mad. However,
some people are such arseholes, though, eh? Like, you're with a group. You let the whole group in. You know what I mean? How can you fucking let 3 out of 6 people in a group? And then just, like, stare them in the eye and say, nah, sorry, you're not coming in. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
not only that, but almost it implies that you're like the opposite of the kind of person they want in there. Like you're not actually worth, your money is not even worth fuck.
Fuck that.
I was 100% the stupid people they hired. They wanted in there.
It's funny.
Totally understood their decision. But so they got in there, and there's like a downstairs and an upstairs, and I think the upstairs is where the show is. It was so packed and so loud they couldn't even get upstairs. It was too full.
Okay.
So they just left after 20 minutes. So
most people do in these places, though. They go in, they realize how jam-packed it is and it's stinky and sweaty.
And they're like, this sucks.
God, what was that thing we were talking about? So obviously when we did YogCon at Motion, which is usually a club I think it's reopened probably.
Was that the big outdoor factory? Indoor outdoor.
They warned us
factory?
that like it's kind of hot in there,
God.
right? And it was a hot day, so it was hot.
Understatement of the century.
But even in winter,
it was like an oven in there.
It's just like the ceiling is like it's raining.
Sweaty.
It's raining in there because of because the ceiling is just like so dripping on people that you're constantly like covered in other people's sweat. It's awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
Some of these clubs, Duncan's been talking about. Because we were mentioning TwitchCon.
Well, the next one's in Vegas,
be happening
right?
in Vegas. Yeah.
Oh wow! I've never been to Vegas.
Yeah.
I think I'd get in trouble.
It's all right. It's not that great, honestly.
It's worth a visit. Flax,
it's a place that you go to where you're like, oh wow, look, I've seen that. I know that. And after 5 minutes, you're like, oh okay. It's actually just casinos. Like if you've been to one, you've been to all. It's
very safety helmet. You know I
think I'd get into trouble as in I just sense that the trouble would be brewing for me in Vegas.
Right.
There's a lot of holes in the desert in Vegas. That's what.
Oh right.
No. What you don't mean like you'll get addicted to gambling or you'd go off with a prostitute.
Yeah, there's a lot of prostitutes in Vegas.
Do you think the temptation is too much?
I just don't know. I don't know what would happen. I mean, a man in Vegas with a little bit of money in his pocket, and a shorn scrotum, anything can happen.
You never know.
Yeah.
But the beauty of Vegas is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So
I don't think that's true. The jurisdiction of the rest of the United States still applies, and I'm pretty sure that Vegas is many a person's ruin.
All it takes is for one, attractive young man or woman to come up to you and whisper in your ear, "I have a tiny penis,"
and that's it. The evening
takes a massive turn,
and then it's like a montage in a movie where you do cocaine and
so they convince you to try crack for the first time and stuff, and you shit your pants, and
you're dancing on the stage at the box, showing off your shaved box.
Yeah,
exactly.
Crap.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I think you'll find it's such a tourist destination. It's supposed to be everyone's having a nice, safe, good time.
It's not like the Vegas mafia days when they ran the town, when it was pretty.
Well,
crazy.
I think even then you only got in trouble if you were like not paying. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like they didn't bother you if you weren't a problem, right?
Yeah.
I
No, they
doubt
just
you're
didn't
going to
like
be
it.
like gambling money you don't have and stuff.
Well, yeah, but you've seen Goodfellas, right? Spider gets shot just for getting the drinks wrong. It's
Spider is played by wait, no, which one's Spider?
Christopher Moltisanti.
That's right.
is-
Yeah, from Sopranos, right?
Yeah.
You've been in
Christopher.
fucking gaming. You want gaming table? We got a gaming table.
You want the blackjack table we have? Of course. This is casino after all. You want the gaming table, or you want table to rest shaved scrotum on to show to everybody.
Table to dance on. You want table to eat on? We have all table.
We have table. We believe it or not. Believe it or not, we have table. It's a table with a smaller table on, just to show off.
Oh,
all
you
of
can
your
show
tables.
off all of your tables.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, but Ravs was talking to me because they went to TwitchCon San Diego and then went to Vegas for a week
That's
afterwards,
right,
right? But
yeah.
now they're like, fuck, we can just
Go to
They're like
Vegas.
kind of like disappointed because they, a lot of them are not O's, for example, and Ravs. I think had always wanted to go to Vegas, and they were like, this is my best chance, because it's kind of
it's a bit,
on the way. But now
out there for Europeans. It's definitely somewhere you'd have to plan to go to, right? Like it's not easy.
And so-
If you're
and so I think-
you're in America, you can like road trip it, like with most things, I suppose. You could just drive for
I
a
get the
couple of days and
impression
get there. But
Ravs wasn't disappointed, but I think he had a great time. But obviously he went with Duncan and O's, who are a little bit of the kind of people who stay up till 5 a.m. anyway, right?
Yes.
And so they love that drinking pubby night culture, and I think they were just taking full advantage of going to nightclubs. So they did Vegas, but basically did Vegas from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day, like kind of thing.
That would be a concern because I am the night owl. I will happily stay up and go out.
I'm the
keep
same,
going,
man. I love being up at night.
like till super
Yeah,
late.
same.
I mean, we've done lock-ins and stuff for when I'm down there until 5 in the morning, and it gets messy.
Yeah.
And you suddenly realize, holy shit, I'm really drunk. I've been drinking for like 10 hours, and it's 5 a.m., so I'm going to go to bed. And then it's like the whole next day is a write-off. But that's how I
think the problem I have is that hanging out with these guys is so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Like Duncan O's, Ravs, these guys are so much fun to hang out with that you don't want to stop. I don't know, and the drink sort of leads to that more as well, right? And then, and then no one wants to be the first person to go home because everyone's having such a good time, which is a good problem to have,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
But it does lead to you
Debauchery.
doing things like it gets to 3 or 4 in the morning, and people are like, where can we go now?
Yeah.
Right? Or you get locked in at the pub, and then if you get locked in, you have to stay at least a couple of hours, right? Because otherwise, it's like going into the club and then leaving immediately. It's like, you can't do that. So I don't know. There's all these like
You start the
little
night
traps.
with shaved balls, and by the time you get home, it's all grown back.
It's all hairy balls again. It's hairy balls time, folks. Time to go home.
Holy crap!
And it tends to be weird places that are open like that late. You know, like odd places.
Sure.
Like I guess like sex clubs, but also just like
The kebab,
it's like karaoke
shop.
bars and stuff. Like I don't know, like weird
Just
places.
chips.
And like there's like a hookah bar or whatever.
Yeah.
A hookah bar. Hookah
You
lounge.
can't get booze in a hookah bar, though. A lot of them. The one in Bristol is
Ravs
dry.
and Duncan managed to find one. So
In Vegas.
No,
in
Bristol.
Bristol. But,
Oh.
I mean, in Vegas, I think it never turns off, right? It's like kind of the whole thing is just constantly going.
It can't be the usual one that we go to in Bristol, then, because that is definitely a no booze zone.
Right.
Everyone in there is stone cold sober and just kind of stares at you.
Right.
Sounds like my kind
they're
of
on a
place.
Different kind of. But I guess like so they. I think they'd like to go again. But Ravs was kind of lamenting the fact that he hadn't done any of the Vegas stuff, right? He hadn't really walked down the strip. He hadn't really like.
Well, he can still do that with
he had-
TwitchCon on, right? You're not.
Yeah,
gonna be
this
at
is what I
TwitchCon
said.
the
I was
whole
like,
time.
it's great, really, because there's still plenty of stuff you should do. Like here, not necessarily Cirque du Soleil, but like some of the shows are like,
Yeah.
it's good to just see a
Some of
show
them are
and
really impressive.
and like
yeah.
I don't know, just walk through some of these big epic hotel lobbies and see some stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas he was like, we were like,
I think-
it was always dark. I think.
I think the best thing about Vegas, and this is going to sound like the most dad thing you've ever heard, but the proximity of the strip to the airport is incredible. Like,
Right.
you land in a city normally, and you're like, oh well, I got to
Got an
sit in a
hour
car
long-
for like an hour and a
Right.
half in traffic,
Yeah.
or getting to where I'm going or whatever. In Vegas, you land, you get into your taxi, and then like 3 minutes later, you're at your hotel. It's insane. It's so
And also,
fast.
you're pretty much always going to stay on the strip for the most of the week. But even if you went to like,
Well, there's
like,
there's really just the strip, and then lots of suburbs, right? Like, it's not.
there's like out the outskirts,
not that
and
much
you can
there.
get. I think we did like shoot guns at one of these places around the suburbs. You know,
Yeah.
this is sort of something to do. And so, yeah, there's still like I guess there's like plenty of things. There's loads of things to do in Vegas. And I think other than just get drunk every night,
You can
which I
go
feel like
on
they
a.
could have
You
just
can, I
done
think you
in
can do a
Bristol.
helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon. Like, there's a lot of Grand Canyon stuff around.
Oh,
Vegas
shit.
too, right? Like, because it's.
I don't
somewhat-
think I'm ever going to get in a helicopter if I can possibly help it.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
seem incredibly dangerous.
I would love to go in one just to experience it, but I would be scared the whole
I
time.
have been in one time when I was at school. I know Lewis was in the cadets as well. I was in the Navy section, and we
Was
took
on
a
my
trip
time.
to naval base in Portsmouth, and we took a helicopter ride from land out to a small carrier at sea that had like a helipad on it. I think it was probably a destroyer,
Right.
and had a helipad on it. So we flew out, landed on the destroyer, had a tour of it, and then got a boat back, which was very cool.
That sounds pretty cool. I would
yeah.
I would like to do something like that. I think.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the loads of people die in helicopters. They're just not very reliable.
No.
So I'm out. Thanks very
What
much.
about like a little Cessna plane? Like, would you ever do? Sometimes you can get. I don't know if there's like an air. Well, I guess you got big airports, but they don't really count. But like over here, it's small enough where there's like the airport also has. Like little private planes, and they do like a flight school. You can get, like for your birthday, you can get like an hour of like flying lessons or whatever.
I get it. Like I anyone that out there that's like a pilot or into flying these little things, I understand. I'm sure it's a ton of fun. I'm not a nervous flyer. Well, actually, I am. I'm lying.
I would love to learn how to fly one of those little planes and just go like fly over to like some small airport in France. Like even just once. Like I wouldn't want to do it all the time. Like I'd be too scared. But just once, just to, like just land in some field in France and just
I don't really
say
enjoy
bonjour and then go back home.
Being in the air. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't like being underwater. I don't like being underground. I don't like being up in the air. I'm a sea lelevel kind of guy.
Man,
Thank you very
I
much.
was watching this. I fucking hate when I do this as well. I was watching this thing. It's like /R interesting as fuck or whatever. Like
Right.
those things. They always
Yeah.
have like this is how they strip mine a coal mine now, and it's like. You see this guy with a GoPro crawling in this really, 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 really small area that they've just like strip mined out like for coal.
Yeah.
And you just fuck, I don't know how they do it. Like it's just the worst. Like just being underground, it's dark, you're like super enclosed and you're like just crawling around like you could just get like stuck awkwardly like oh god I can't even think of it. It's like so fucking upsetting. Like what if you're crawling under there and then all of a sudden you're just like oh shit I put on like an extra pound and now I'm jammed.
That's it. Yeah.
I just can't get out.
And
And it's impossible to like backtrack and like, oh fuck, there's just no room to do it, and you're just stuck. Oh god, it's like a nightmare. I don't know how they do it. God bless them for doing it, but fuck me,
Oh my God.
I would never do it. I would shoot myself before I had to do that. I'd be so scared.
Just crazy.
Oh, I haven't done much else this week, I've got to say. I've still got a flight voucher from before COVID from a cancelled flight, but the flight I was on did operate, right? So I couldn't get a refund. So I've got like £1,000 I need to spend on a flight at some point this year, and so I'm thinking, where does British Airways fly to?
Go to Marbella.
Do
like 2 weeks, no carbs before Marbs. Get there, have the time of your life, come home.
Mobs. The BA flies everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
fuck
Actually fly everywhere. Yeah, but for
that was
£1,000, I don't know. If you're wanting to just get a flight within the limit of that,
apparently
voucher.
flights really expensive this year.
Yeah.
Well,
they
I think it was to Japan previously. So,
okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that you get a flight to Japan for less than $1,000.
Here's something that you could think about. They are offering people help to move to Venice. I was reading about this the other day. Venice has got a big issue. Well, it's got several big issues. One of them is it's fucking sinking.
Yes.
But the other issue is people are moving away. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But
which
not
came
because
first?
of the sinking.
Yeah. Oh,
not
right.
because of the sinking. They're moving away because
The smell.
anyone who's been to Venice, no, it's not the smell either. You'd get used
The
to that, I think.
tourists.
It's the tourists, exactly
Oh,
right. It's so... I've been there as a tourist, and it feels like you're in a theme park, and everything here is just a thing for tourists to look at.
The only people there are tourists.
I mean, I got
Yeah.
a question for you, well, not just you guys, but for everybody else as well. When you're out somewhere and you're taking pictures of stuff, do you actually look at these pictures ever again? Like, what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Like the other day I saw people taking pictures of like a tree or something. It was like lit up, but it was like not worth taking a picture of. And I was just thinking, what the fuck are you taking a picture of here? And what are you going to do with this picture? Like, if I took this picture, what the fuck would I do with it? They must just be posting it on social media or something.
I think that's a big thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Just
being
wanna
funny. I
post-
don't want to shout out a sponsor that isn't sponsoring this podcast this week. But when we got the Aura frame,
Yeah.
it really did. It was great because we put all our old holiday pictures on it from like pretty much when we had the kids up, and some from before.
Right.
And it's just nice little memories. It just reminds you, hey, remember this happy time you had. It just lifts your mood.
It is good to do that. It's good to talk about, like, when you're actually on holiday, it's good to talk about what you've done every day and sort of maybe even like make a note, because those days are busy and interesting and packed full of stuff. And you've got we sort of go over it on the podcast a bit anyway, but it's good to remind yourself of positive stuff, because otherwise your brain doesn't keep track of it well, right?
Yeah.
Like we're animals who are kind of designed to learn by pain, right? Like our brains remember things that are bad a lot more easily than they do things that are good, right? So if you don't have a attitude of going over the good times and kind of remembering funny and good moments, it can impact your mood a bit, I think. You've got to celebrate happy things that happened in your
Celebrate the good.
life.
I mean, here's the thing.
I think some people are just happier than us as well, Sips. Like, some people can get joy out of looking at fucking lights on a tree. I don't know who
I
they
like
are,
looking
but
at lights on a tree. I like taking my kids to look at lights on a tree, but I don't need to fucking remember it for the rest of my life. Like, Jesus, it's just like you're enjoying the moment or whatever. But like,
I think
taking a fucking
photos
picture
are
of
so
it is-
disposable, though, right?
I
I take photos of stuff just to remind myself. I'll go into a shop and I'll take a photo of a thing that I want to buy online.
Man, I'm
Yeah.
not against it. Don't get me wrong. If you want to take a picture of whatever the fuck you want. I'm curious to know if
Is that going in their scrapbook? Yeah.
what they're doing with this after they've taken it, or like you said, if it's just like a fire and forget. It is so disposable.
Well, the other nice thing about photos
curious
is if you take like hundreds of them, in my experience, one of them I will look okay in.
Yeah.
It's
the only time I'll take a picture of something
low margin, but
is sometimes I'll take a picture of something at a store because I can't be bothered describing it, so then I could just like show it to my wife, like, oh yeah, I saw this toilet or this sink or whatever. And the only other time I'm taking a picture of something is to send it to somebody because it made me laugh or was, shocking. Like, I would take a picture of like a shit on the road or, like some funny graffiti or something like that to then send to somebody to hopefully make them laugh or something.
Have you taken a picture of your scrotum, P-Flax?
No, I haven't.
Are you thinking about it?
No, I'm not.
Not. Has
What
your
would
wife
you do
seen
with
it?
the-
What
She
does she
has
think?
seen it.
Okay, but what would you do if you took a picture of your freshly shaved scrotum? I guess you could take a picture and send it to your wife if she wasn't at home at the time.
No, she just said, "Let's have a look," and I showed her, and she laughed. That was it.
Right.
Who wouldn't?
Did she not have a feel? Did she not
No.
cop a feel of the smooth,
she didn't.
soft scrotum?
But I told her, I leaned in. This is just we've got friends staying with us right now, okay?
Right.
So we're just about to have dinner. Like, they're in the living room, we're in the kitchen. I leaned over to her and I said, I can't stop playing with this thing. And she laughed herself silly because it was like, it's just this funny idea. But
yeah.
It is, yeah.
she
It is.
We were
She's
just
like a
about to
lady
settle
house.
down into a massive orgy, and I leaned over to my wife and I said, I can't stop playing with my boys. They're so smooth.
oh man. These
Jesus
guys
Christ.
are. This has changed my life, sweetheart. It really has. Oh man.
I gotta shave
It's
my balls.
amazing they don't
I'm gonna do it
make
one
luxury.
of these days. One of these days, I'm gonna. Man, I gotta shave my face more often too. I'm just. I don't know what it. Like, I know what you mean when you say you don't have time to shave your balls and stuff. I don't either. But like, I feel like I just don't have time to do anything. It's a combination of feeling like I don't have time to do it and really not wanting to do things as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think it just it's just a combination of all the demands like already on you, sort of thing, right? Like, there's a lot of requests. You know, there's lots that needs to be done, and then you sort of prioritize, but you prioritize in the weirdest ways. Like, there's things that I should do and will only take me a second to do, but the mental hurdle of getting around to doing it seems so enormous that I can't do it.
Oh my God. Well, this is one of the main things about like trying to feel happier is like to try and act on these things immediately and get the small tasks. Because otherwise, one task that's like annoying becomes annoying for the whole day.
Oh my God.
It's like.
So one thing we've been doing recently, which has actually incredibly helped a little bit, is our kitchen table. We have really endeavored to keep clear. So it's a dumping ground, right? Like, because it's right by the door that we're using to get into the house currently. So the kids get in from school, their bags go on there, hats, scarf, whatever, anything that they can, they'll just dump onto the table and just leave it there. And me and my wife are the same. We'll come in and, like receipt from the store or anything. So our kitchen table is always just covered in stuff. And it's a nightmare when you're, trying to get dinner out or do anything sort of thing. So for the past like 2 weeks, we've both been like really proactively, like the minute anything is on the kitchen table, we put it somewhere or throw it out. And man, it makes such a big difference. Like just having a clear, for us, kitchen table, but also kitchen counters as well. We're keeping those clear too. And it's just like it's such a game changer. It's such a small thing, but if you do keep on top of it, the peace of mind is amazing. And again, it is such a small thing, but it's worth it. Worth totally keeping on top of it for sure.
I have a bunch of things that I feel like are running through my head that I want to do, and I feel bad for not following up. I'm the ultimate guy who is like starts a new project and then gets bored of it.
Man, I do that
as
a lot
soon as
too,
I feel a sense of completion, right? And I just don't fucking finish projects. I want to run like 2 RPGs, and I've read the books and I've planned like half of the story for it. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like finishing it off and then inviting people and then running it. Like that is so daunting that I don't want to do it. And I've started. My mum bought me a Lego thing for Christmas, and I've done half of it. And I bought all this art supplies, and I've got it. I've based the paper, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like I just feel like I'm like in this, and not only that, but like I've like written, a little bit of this fighting fantasy book, and I've sort of planned it, but I've now got to actually write the damn fucking thing, and I can't be asked. And then I've got like, I've done half of this. I've like planned half of a board game that I want to design. I keep coming up with the ideas in my head and writing them down, but it's going nowhere. I feel bad about it, and it like bothers me. Like I hate this. I think I need to like take a day off, like Mondays, and be like, okay, Mondays I'm gonna work on my.
Oh man! Every time I do that, I sometimes do that.
Fucking done.
I sometimes do that where I'm like, I'm gonna take like this day off. And I'm going to do all this stuff. And then I'll take the day off and I'll be like, holy shit, I got this whole day. I could really get stuck into like a big session of Hearts of Iron or like Victoria 3 or something. Yeah. And then I just do that. And then I get to the end of the day. I'm like, fuck, I should have done all that stuff instead.
Yeah.
Playing this
to give you guys some idea,
all day.
Time goes so quickly, right? But it also feels like forever. So Jingle Jam ended about 2 months ago. But it also feels like an incredibly long time since Jingle Jam ended. I feel like it was a long time ago, but it was 2 months ago. So when I think about what's happened in that time, I feel like there must have been stuff that I was doing and things must have happened. But I think in general, if I looked at my calendar, I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. And I did that. Like I often look back at my calendar, and I'm especially interested in my Google timeline. When you go back and look at the Google timeline and see where you were.
Right.
It shows you exactly where you were. So in response to you asking why people take pictures, in a way, I think without them, we feel like we're just at the edge of this, riding this surf. It's just plowing through our life, and you kind of bits and bobs come back to you, but it's like, geez, what have I done? Whereas when you take pictures, it kind of solidifies that yes, I am actually doing something, and with my time, because otherwise all I have to really show for the last 2 months is I streamed some games. Like that's pretty much it, and did this podcast.
Yeah,
but I did do
It
stuff.
is nice to have a pin in the present and to be in the live in the moment and like look around you occasionally, look up and just this is a meditative thing, but also like an Alan Watts thing, like that the meaning of life is the current moment is here right now. It's like this the joy of being in the present, right? Like it's a kind of, when you think about it, it's an odd moment where you're but because also we are getting older, and it's kind of feels like it's gone by fast, right?
Oh, it goes faster
and
faster the older you get.
It's like, and you kind of can't believe it. You're like, oh my god! I remember when I was excited about going to Vegas, and then suddenly that's 10 years ago, right? And it's like time is this really odd thing that grabs you, and I'm sure for a lot of people it does feel like a tsunami, right? Like pushing you forward, like when you've got kids and jobs and you got to go to the dentist and get the shopping and doing this and this, and that there's constantly demands on you, and you're having a good time too, and that just rip roars you along in like this, like on being on a water slide or something, just getting, and sometimes then there's like a splash moment where you wake up and you're like, oh my god,
what am I doing?
Yeah, like and you feel bad, but then you just, I think people were more depressed if they stop in the moment though, like, and they start thinking too hard about where they are and what they're doing,
they
and
say
what
that,
am I doing.
I remember when I was I still do have trouble getting to sleep and have panic attacks sometimes going to sleep, because I start to think, and apparently thinking about the future or the past or
it's quite existential,
planning stuff like that, it overexcites your brain. I lay there for an hour last night just thinking. And I'd just been chill up to that point. Like, I'd just been hanging out, watching YouTube, playing some games, playing Second Front, which is like an unbelievably nerdy hex.
Oh yeah, you were telling
game.
us about this. I need to look this up actually. What's it called?
It's
heavy.
It's a dense one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a dense one.
Very hex heavy.
So I was playing that, and I did a Call of Cthulhu thing with my mates and stuff like that, but I still couldn't get to sleep. So what you're meant to do is try to center yourself on the present and not let all this weight of either ideas that you've got, things you're planning, or things you should have done in the past, and letting all that play over in your head. Try to silence all that. Try to just focus on where you are and what you're doing, which is lying in bed. Focus on your breathing and your heart and just try to relax. It's hard, but it is a discipline to try to get into. I'm shit at it, so I just fucking lie there for an hour until I get really tired. But yeah, it's kind of bad. Can I just a quick mailbag?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Go.
So this is from Josh RH.
Right.
This is about the driving curse of the Triforce podcast. Be careful on those roads out there.
Yes.
I was driving home from work today at about 6 p.m. while listening to the latest Mailbag episode. At the exact moment you guys were discussing the number of accidents people have whilst driving, listening to the podcast, a metal pole flew off the back of a truck in front of me, went under my car, ripping my tires to shreds at 70 miles an hour. Luckily, I managed to escape unharmed, but my car is seemingly another victim of the Triforce podcast driving curse. The garage said it was a 1 in a million chance that I was even alive, let alone unharmed. Stay safe on the roads, everyone.
Jesus.
Yeah. And there is a photo, and his tire is indeed shredded to bits.
Very lucky escape.
See, that's a great moment to take a photo of that.
I would take a picture of that for sure. Yeah,
there you go.
There are some things where like I'm criticizing people for taking pictures of a tree or whatever, but if my tire got shredded to hell by a pole that fell off a truck,
and they pan through, they're like, "Wow, God, that tree's really colourful." Oh my God! Oh shit, your shaved balls, jeez!
What happened to your tire?
Take a picture of those.
They all go to Google Drive, and me and Mrs. F share the Google Drive. So if I did take a picture of my nutsack, it's right there, and she might accidentally upload it to the fucking Aura.
I would
we're all sitting there having dinner.
I would love that so much, man. Holy shit! You're just
Christmas
sitting there. It's
morning,
Christmas
you got the family round.
You got the music on. It's snowing outside. Everybody's got eggnog and their fucking reindeer socks on, and then
there's a
Grandma
nutsack.
Flax
just
like
a
screams.
Don't look at that.
Man.
Yeah. And one more email, or should we wrap it up there?
Please.
Go.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. That must really be stressful, but I'm glad he's not.
He's okay.
Injured.
Thank goodness Josh is okay. So this is a TLDR. They've highlighted parts of the message.
Fuck, is it about Wisconsin?
It is about Wisconsin.
Oh,
For fuck's sake, all right, we're not going to do it.
Is it? Okay, just give us the TLDR of this Wisconsin rant.
The TLDR is still far too long to read.
Oh my God.
I just wanted to point out how funny it is. Every time we criticize Wisconsin, they point out, oh, but it's got these companies here.
Yes.
They're so...
Turns out they have very thin
and Jersey,
skins in
Jersey is
Wisconsin.
fucking stupid, and I
You'd
sit in a
think because
garage
of their-
all day.
You
Yes,
think
we know.
because of the cold, freezing-ass weather in Wisconsin, they'd have thicker skins.
You'd think with all the cheese, they could just make a suit of cheese to cover their thin skin and deal with it that way. But it's literally all it is pointing out the many products and companies
Yes.
in Wisconsin. Listen, Jacob, I'm sorry, buddy.
We have many
we
exports.
don't care.
We export
I mean, just as an
rubber.
example,
Like what? Jesus.
additionally, every summer, Milwaukee holds Summerfest on the Milwaukee lakefront, which is not widely known, but is one of the largest music festivals in the world. Up on the East Coast, we don't care, dude.
Yeah,
we don't care.
it's
I'm
not
sorry.
it's not well known because nobody gives a fuck. That's why.
Yeah.
It's
Fuck
not well known.
music festivals as well, man. Like, oh god, fuck those. I mean, when I was a teenager, I went to a couple, and I've just but now I don't want to go to. I'm not. Probably won't even allow me in.
I love
They'll
the
take one
I
look
love
at me
the,
at the door.
The we don't care line followed by lots of insults, which is just going to in turn spur more emails about
Okay,
Wisconsin.
yeah.
But
Actually, music festivals are very cool. You can go as an old man and you still have a nice time.
Oh, yeah.
They have very good toilet facilities these days, and the drinks are not £12.
I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure Wisconsin is fine. I'm sure it's just fine.
Listen, you think the Wisconsinites are bad. I have just been sent an email, literally just arrived.
This is it. What we need to do is criticize someone else.
Right.
Well, Pennsylvania, baby.
Right.
Sips called it a shithole.
Did I? When? When did I call it a shithole? I never called Pennsylvania a shithole. I don't remember.
Well, that's what they said.
Right.
But apparently you said, what is Pennsylvania known for?
Right.
Well, this is about 3 pages of explanations of what is going on in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Thank you for the email that I'm not going to read, Andrew.
Is this shit just fucking people?
No, it's Americans, dude. It's Americans. You can't criticize America.
I didn't realize that Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're absolutely
Don't
fine.
try
I've
to
never
back
been to
out.
either.
Have some balls, man. Have some balls.
I don't want to
give a
get
shit
more
about
emails
Wisconsin.
about this.
You don't get them. I'm filtering them. I'm just reading them because it's funny that people are still emailing in about Wisconsin. We don't care, guys. We
Where
don't
else?
care.
You should shit talk somewhere else.
No,
here's
the thing.
Pennsylvania is where Dunder Mifflin is based, right? In the American the Office.
I'm just astonished at the number of people from Wisconsin who are so thin-skinned. But here is a great email. I think we could put a lid on this. This is from Ethan.
Right.
This is great. The previous Wisconsin apologist is delusional and suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. As a former Wisconsin resident, I can confirm it is one of the worst places to live.
Wow.
It's flat as shit. There is nothing interesting in the whole state, just dairy farms. Even though it's far north, you'll still get 90 degrees weather and it's humid as hell. The winters are so awful you'll be blockaded in your house by sometimes a dozen feet of snow at minus 40 degrees. I remember running for my life as mosquitoes the size of my hands blotted out the sun in the evening. My mother would be like the officer on a Vietnam helicopter, ushering us back into the house as thousands of mosquitoes battered against our home. Nothing to do, so everyone is an alcoholic. Thank you, Ethan, for some balance on Wisconsin.
We balanced it out a little bit.
Stop being
like the
so
BBC.
thin-skinned.
We need a Pennsylvania balancer as well, if anybody is up to the task.
It's amazing with all those mosquitoes that they're so thin.
I tell you what, though, it's where I grew up. It sounds the same. In Ontario, it sounds the same. It's like mosquitoes, very humid summers, very hot and humid summers, very cold winters. Like dozens of feet of snow blocking you in the winter.
And if you're part of Wisconsin that you've never left, you've never driven 10 minutes from your tranquil glade where you happen to have been brought up in a safe area, is actually really fucking nice. Then why not just write in?
Don't write in. Stop writing in.
Give us your 2 cents.
Never write in again. No more.
Right, well, do you know what? I feel like I've just been, you know how these people, how you have like echo chambers on the internet,
Yes.
right? Like,
Oh,
I feel like I've just
we should go check. There's got to be
that
like
email has just
/r/Wisconsin. I bet you all of these
that
people
email has
are
just
like,
confirmed my echo chamber. I believed that one a lot more than I believed the other ones, right? Just because I don't know, it's stupid how the human brain works, right? Where like, but you can see how people fall for these people like Andrew Tate or whatever, you know, honestly, because they end up, you just want to believe it sometimes.
Do you?
It just seems so believable.
why do you want to believe that?
No,
I was
not really.
reading a really interesting.
You want to believe what you already believe, right? You want to confirm your bias or whatever. You want to be told things you already know. And it feels good, right? To feel right. It feels like, I'm smart. I knew I should have been stubborn and dig my heels in about this really stupid thing which I shouldn't believe.
Some of this stuff is kind of interesting, though. Like, I'll just say quickly, I don't want to get into it, but off the back of watching that big documentary series on the Holocaust in the U.S. and the Holocaust,
let's end on a down.
Yeah, we'll end on a down. No, I was just reading about some, some of the literature that came out post-war about the rise of fascism and people's like perceptions of fascism, and really just how early the whole sort of transformation leading up to like the Holocaust started, and it's so gradual, but it's frightening that people can be led down this path so gradually and then arrive at just such an awful place. But it just becomes normalized, like all these little things that change in their society, like towards becoming very fascist, is also gradual, and they just slowly accept it over time. And then a lot of times people just have this realization, and for one of the guys writing it, his realization came when like his really young son came out with like just this really racist, anti-Semitic remark, and he was like, holy shit. Like, it was just like one of those moments where he was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what have we done? Like, what have we become where this has become normalized? And like my 3-year-old kid is
whenever anyone says anything about TikTok, though.
I guess so, yeah. But it's wild to think. It's interesting stuff to read about too. Just how impressionable we can be, and if you apply that to some of the people that become like really radicalized and stuff like that, it's crazy.
Yeah, we're very easily led.
The mind is wild.
We're very easily led,
is, yeah.
Which is why you got to be careful.
Yes.
You got to keep your eye out for.
That's why if somebody writes in,
encroaching forces of fascism.
That's it. And if somebody writes into your podcast saying that Wisconsin is a really interesting,
be vigilant.
We got fascism here in Wisconsin. You guys forgot to mention it.
You gotta question it sometimes, right?
We got so much fascism over here, and it's the best in the country. And it's covered in cheese. Fascist cheese.
Love you, Wisconsin.
Interesting you mentioned the Holocaust. We invented it in Wisconsin, actually. Fucking assholes. And now I'm with Sips. Fuck Wisconsin. I'm deleting all Wisconsin emails.
We've now got a feud. No, we need to be tolerant of Wisconsin.
No, I want to get rid of them.
Don't be them.
Let's block Triforce in Wisconsin. You're not allowed to listen to it anymore. You're too thin-skinned.
Well,
we don't want to cause an upset.
One of the ways that fascism works as well is that you identify a common enemy. So I say Wisconsin. We love you. Let's unite. Fuck Pennsylvania. Am I right? Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
I got friends in
Penn.
like
a new civil war.
Oh man,
that's the one that no one saw coming.
Do you know what? I will say this: we have shit talked Florida consistently on this podcast.
I think you're allowed to, though. I think even people who love Florida shit talk it all the time.
I guarantee, they do. But all I'm saying is,
it's a safe
the
place.
People of Wisconsin apparently are the touchiest people in America so far. The only state we've had a go at that has come back with this many is dozens of emails in defense of Wisconsin. We don't care, buddy. I'm sorry. We're gonna trash you. We've never been there.
Well,
we don't even know much about you. We don't care.
They must like it.
Well,
or they've never been anywhere else.
I just think it's funny how defensive they're getting about their boring ass state. Good luck.
I mean, I've not been to that many places, honestly. You know.
You've travelled fairly well.
Well, I've been around. I've seen a few things, but I mean, I haven't been to all the American states.
He's seen some shit.
So I don't feel like any of us are qualified to make these calls.
No,
right?
but we didn't. We were joking, and they've taken it to heart because they're such little babies. It's the snowflake state is actually what it's known as, Wisconsin. That's their state flag. Is a giant fucking snowflake.
Wow, we really are. It's just turning into the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, right.
We've transitioned fully. Yeah.
Well, we've always had the lack of information, knowledge, and fact.
Yeah.
So,
and general level of disrespect.
Yeah, and just believing everything we all say to each other. So absolutely, we could go JRE on this.
I think that actually
Let's
is what we're doing. All right. Fucking hell. Thanks, everyone.
We'll
thanks
see you
for
next
joining
time.
us. Drive safe.
Drive safe. See you next time.
careful.
Lots of love. Bye.
Sorry about the balls thing.
Goodbye.
Right. Bye. Bye.